I've been meditating for a few months I've been meditating for many years, but a few months after listening to some of your recordings and asking for communication with my inner being. I've been getting some really interesting sensations, zingers of energy through my body, goosebumps all over, a lot of other different sensations. Am I on the right track?
Once you begin feeling those sensations, you know what they are. In other words, when you meditate, you quiet thought. And when you quiet thought or stop thought, you release resistance. Which means, in other words, we teach meditation because it's easier to have no thought than to have pure positive thought. Really is. So once you quiet your mind, you stop resistance, and once you stop resistance, you come into alignment with who you are. Once you come into alignment with who you are, now that's the perspective that's offering the signals. So those twitches and itches, those sensations in your physical apparatus, those are indications that you are at unconscious levels receiving communication that is causing the impulse. In other words, Esther loved it when she would get eye twitches or things that she knew that no matter what she couldn't do. So she knew that somebody else was doing it. And we said that would be us. You see.
Do they have a name?
If you want them to, if you want that, and we know from your physical format, you're so used to assigning labels to everything and there's nothing wrong with it. It does give you a point of focus. We are having a vibrational meeting here today. Much more is happening on a vibrational level than on any other level. But the words cause us to focus similarly. And so the labels are helpful, but the labels are not important. As we are visiting with you here, Esther is not hearing us whispering words that she is repeating. She's receiving blocks of thought that are then being translated at an unconscious level, and she is finding the physical equivalent, the word equivalent of it. And the same thing will eventually happen with anyone who sits with an attitude of meditating. Here's the thing that we want you to hear, and this is what we can feel that's going on with you. There are 3 steps to creating anything, including communication with source energy. Step 1 is ask. And you do that all day, every day. The contrast causes you to do that. Step 2 is source answers. That's not your work. So both step 1 and step 2 are not part of something that you have to give your attention to. Step 1 happens without you. Step 2 happens without you. Your work is step 3. Your work is to come into vibrational alignment with that which you've asked for. So when you are sitting to meditate with the intention of receiving communication, and you are in the step 1 mode in the middle of your meditation, now your meditation is being disrupted and you are not allowing the step 3 mode. Does that make sense to you? In other words, Esther is in step 3 mode right now. She's in an utter state of allowing. You're the step 1 here. We're the step 2. Esther's allowing the step 3. And so it's a tricky thing when you have the question and you're also wanting to receive the answer. So you want to put some distance between the question asking time and the question receiving, the answer receiving time. So we would encourage you to just let life bring the questions forth and keep a log of things that you want to know. And then sit to meditate, and in your mind say to yourself, I'm going to get myself into a relaxed position where I'm going to have a blank slate, so to speak. I'm going to have no thought, and I'm going to feel for those twitches and itches, because that's the indication that I'm tuning in to that broader vibration. And then I'm just going to listen to what occurs to me and just let the thoughts sort of move across your mind. Don't try to have dialogue, especially in the beginning. It's hard even for Esther today. If Esther wants to have a chat with us, she has a conversation with Jerry until she is sure that she's conveyed to Jerry what it is that she wants to know. Then she puts herself totally in the receiving mode, and Jerry has a chat with us, and then Jerry and Esther talk about it later. And Jerry will say, did you get that? And Esther would say, well, it sure feels good, and I sort of kind of got it. Or Esther will sit with her computer and make her statement of request, and then she will meditate, and then she will receive with the computer in the same way, and then read what has been written later. Good idea to get a tape recorder so that you could even begin verbalizing the thoughts that are occurring to you. And most of all, and this is the most important thing, do not try to make it happen. Let it happen. You got to know that you're an extension of source energy. You've got to know those lines of communication are open. So when someone talks about blending, and we offered those words originally in this context also, you can't be not blended. You're always blended because you can't cease to be the source energy being that you are. But this alignment can be more or less. You can come into alignment or not be. When you're first born into your physical body, as you're that little infant, before you come, you are in perfect alignment. Almost as soon as you are born, there's a splitting of your energy just because of your vibrational association with your physical world. So you go right to sleep and you come back into alignment. You wake up, there's that little gap. You grow up and you start fussing and worrying about things. You go to bed at night and you sleep and close the gap. You wake up and you fuss and worry some more and spread the gap. You go to sleep and close the gap. You wake up and fuss and worry. You widen the gap between you and you. You meditate. You close the gap. You ask a question during meditation. You sort of widen the gap. You feel unhappy that you aren't hearing the answer. You widen the gap. You're frustrated because you've been at this for a long time. You widen the gap.